Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Tabletop Simulator playing Battlestar Galactica. Alright, it is Laura Rosalind's turn. Let's go ahead and draw some cards. She's no longer a president, unfortunately. Chief is now the Chief of Staff and the President. Alright, 3 politics. And then 2 leadership. Alright, so I'll talk a little bit about the sickbay. The way sickbay works is if you start your turn in sickbay, you only draw 1 card instead of your full set. Generally, the easiest way to deal with sickbay is to XO somebody in sickbay and have them move out. So that's pretty much the only option. So with that in mind, Laura Rosalind's going to go ahead and just move to the President's office for right now. And then she's going to go ahead and XO Boomer. So it's going to be Boomer. She gets either 2 actions or a move and an action. So she's going to go ahead and go to the hangar, activate it to go ahead and get herself into a Viper. Like so. Alright, and then, so she's in a Viper now. She gets an additional action, because that's part of the card. It says, launch yourself in a Viper, then you may take 1 more action. Since now she's in a Viper, she can activate CAG. So she's going to go ahead and activate CAG. What she's going to do is she's just going to, actually she'll depart this way. And then she's going to go ahead and activate the Viper that's here, and just attempt to shoot the base star. It's not going to hit. A Viper shooting a base star only damages it on an 8. But I have the spare action. Alright, and then I still have 1 action left. I'm going to use it to activate this Viper. It can move 2 spaces on an activation. One of the things, like your action could be activate Viper, and that activation could be a few things. It could be attack a ship. It could be move. So that's what she did. She just moved. Another thing she can do, or what could be done with a Viper or Assault Raptor, is you can go to the space area here, any area that has a civilian ship, and if you're in an area with a civilian ship, you can use an activation to escort a ship off the board, which is a way to kind of clear out civvy ships. All right, with that said and done, that resolves the XO. Goes to, it's still Laura Rosalind's turn. She's going to go ahead and draw her crisis. She draws 2 because she is Laura Rosalind. Alright. Keep tabs on visitor. Current player discards 4 random skill cards. She does want that jump prep. And the symbol down here, where it has the little base star and the little raiders coming out of it, it's essentially deploy raiders. What that will do was it would deploy 3 raiders from each base star that's on the board. Not exactly pretty. Yeah, she's going to go ahead and pick this one because of the jump prep. The other one goes on the bottom. All right. So she can choose. She can choose to discard 4 random cards. She doesn't exactly want to do that, because then she will pretty much be useless for a while. But at the same time, she's the only one that can really do skill checks right now. The other option is she can just risk the population. I think what she's going to end up doing, though, is she's going to go ahead and just discard 4 random cards. Alright, since I have 5 cards in my hand, I'm just going to pull 1 card away that I'm going to keep, and the rest of them will get discarded. So these ones will be discarded. Alright. Alright, so the last card I kept was this Popular Influence, which has uses at least. Not many, but it has uses. Alright, Raiders activate. So this Raider's going to go ahead and move closer towards the civvy ships, saying hi to Boomer. And then jump prep increases. So at this point, if we force a jump, it'll be at minus, there's a risk of losing 1 population, or if we get 1 more of these starburst, we'll auto jump. Alright, takes care of that. It goes to Chief. So, politics, to leadership, to engineering. I kind of need repairs right now, and I'm not getting them. Alright, he can consolidate power if he really wants to. You can try shooting the base star. You can activate the unmanned Viper twice if he went to command. But yeah, he doesn't actually have much to do. He might go ahead and do consolidate power and try to get himself some more engineering cards. Yeah, I think that's what he's going to end up doing. He's going to go ahead and consolidate power. Draw 2 skill cards of any type. They can come outside his set, but he's going to go engineering because he needs them. Still no repairs. That's impressive. Alright, then it goes straight into crisis phase. Tracked by radiation, CAG chooses, that's Boomer, place a base star and 3 raiders in front of Galactica and 2 civilian ships behind Galactica, or -1 fuel. Okay, so the big issue here is it's going to add a second base star to the front, and that little symbol on the bottom left represents base stars firing, which means they'll shoot at the Galactica, and that's going to do some damage. Or we can take a -1 fuel, which can be a bit dangerous. Fuel is something you're going to be spending a lot of because you use it for jumps. She's going to take the -1 fuel. Right now we don't have very much in the form of repairs because Chief is just not getting anything out of it. So yeah, we'll take the -1 fuel. And then base stars are going to fire. There's 1 base star on the field, and it's just going to shoot once. 2. The base star hits on a 4 to 8, so that's a miss. If we had taken the other option, it would have fired again, and could potentially done some extra damage. To be honest, he could have probably pulled off okay with that, because I mean the second shot could have missed as well. But we don't. It could have been, very important locations, or you can lose resources. So it's one thing or the other. You have to. It's the tough choices. Anyway, that resolves that. It goes to Boomer. Chief has 7 cards in his hand, so he's good on that front. All right. Is there anything else you can do? Nope. Your special abilities, you can draw a quorum card. All right. So Boomer. Actually, that's something he could have done. He could have moved to play with the quorum chamber, but that's not exactly the best place for Chief. Anyway, let's go ahead and draw cards for Boomer. 2 piloting, 2 tactics, 1 engineering. Okay. All right, just seeing what else I can do here. All right. So first things first, we'll do CAG action. I'll activate this Viper here and shoot with it. It's only on an 8, misses, not a big deal. And then for her regular action, she's just going to go ahead and shoot this raider that's in front of her. And that's unfortunately a miss. Again, it was a 1. It's either a 1 or a 2, which both cases is a miss. Alright, well that's a bit annoying. Alright, crisis. Okay, current player chooses. This is, the Admiral may choose a character to send to the Brig. Failure is -1 morale, and the Admiral must discard all skill cards. She doesn't really want to discard her skill cards. And the other option is a -1 morale. Just avoid the skill check entirely. She's going to go ahead and take the -1 morale. So we're going to be down to 8 morale now. And Raiders will activate. Misses. And then we jump. So when auto jump happens, you reset that back to normal. Everything, all cylons on this board will get moved to their respective locations on the cylon fleet board. So that goes there. That goes there. All Vipers return to the hangar, and Boomer goes back to the hangar deck. Civvy ships stay out. If you happen to be piloting an Assault Raptor, those stay out as well. That's one of the benefits of being an Assault Raptor. So right now we're actually safe. There's nothing to attack us. Now the Admiral, which is right now Boomer, draws 2 destination cards and picks one, and the other goes on the bottom of the deck. So her choices are Barren Planet, which is lose 2 fuel, but get... Alright, so the bottom number represents the amount of distance. Remember, we want to get to 8 distance and then jump one more time. Tylilium Planet has some pretty good stuff on it. So her options is either go the distance at the cost of fuel, or lose a little bit of fuel and risk a Raptor to get fuel back. She kind of burned some fuel. We're at 7 fuel, so we either go down to 5 or potentially go back up to 8 at the cost of, a distance. So she's actually going to go. Usually you want to go full the furthest distance, but I think she wants to keep keep resources going. And since everyone's being very friendly, it's possible that there's no cylons at this point. So she'd rather not get to the sleeper agent phase right now. So we lose 1 fuel, and we get 1 distance, which will just... Ooh, what happened there? Okay. And we'll just keep track of it there. And then she can choose to risk a Raptor and roll a d8. And if it's 3 or higher, you get 2 fuel. Otherwise, you destroy the Raptor. Raptors are pretty much for scouting. That's what they're generally for. Or you can use them to change into Assault Raptors with other cards. So what's going to happen here is Boomer's going to go ahead and use Strategic Planning to get +2 to this roll. And that's an 8, so she didn't need it, but she gets 2 fuel back. Alright, so with that, we are... Wait, what happened there? Oh, I didn't drop it in the right spot, sorry. There you go, 8 fuel. So yeah, we went from, we had 7 fuel, went down to 6, then got 2 back, so we're back up at 8. We're overabundant on food. We're a little down on morale, but other than that, we're kind of okay. Alright. Oh, also it's the end of the turn, so recon. Detector sabotage. So the failure is actually pretty significant here. So what this happens if this is a long-term effect if you fail it, where you can't use any special abilities that lets you look at loyalty cards if you fail it. It has heavy raiders and a activation on it too, or a jump prep on it. She's gonna go ahead and put that on the bottom. She wants people to be able to look at cards if necessary. Alright, now it goes to Louis here. Gets his 2 leadership, 2 tactics, and an engineering. Okay. Alright. By the way, this thing says Miracle Token. Miracle Tokens represent your once per game. You can't have more than 1 Miracle Token except unless you're a certain character. Alright, so right now, Hoshi's here. He's kind of doing his thing. What he probably wants to go ahead and do, since we just jumped, is go ahead and get people onto the field. Because right now all Viper's been returned. He does want some more repairs being done, but that doesn't seem to be an option right now. We're also pretty good on fuel, so he doesn't really need to worry about scouting for fuel right now. So he's going to do EXO order on Boomer. So Boomer gets 2 actions, or a move and an action. So first action will be activate the hangar deck and get out in a Mark 7. This gives her another action, so she's still at 2 actions. She'll activate her CAG action next and activate an unmanned Viper. and put it out here. This gives her another action, so she's still at 2 actions. Or sorry, yeah, she's still at 2 actions. She'll use an action to activate the Viper and move to this location. Then she'll use another action to go ahead and return one of these civvy ships back to the deck. It's called escorting, essentially. All right, and that resolves the XO, and now it goes to Crisis. Assassination plot. President chooses Admiral. The Admiral. It's either the Admiral gets executed, which will be Boomer, or the Admiral and the current player must discard 3 skill cards and draw 3 treachery cards. This is pretty brutal. Okay, well, right now the Chief is the President. Does not really want to execute Boomer. He's actually kind of okay with discarding cards at this point. So he will discard he has to, each of them have Admiral and current player. Okay, so him, yeah, discard those 3 cards. And he's going to get stuck with a bunch of treacheries, which are all bad and usually not things you want to play around with. And then Louis needs to discard 3 cards because he's current player. He doesn't really have any uses for repairs because he has to discard to use them. So this cost a bunch of cards, unfortunately, but it's better than getting executed. Alright, and then base stars fire. There are no base stars on the field. Now what happens when that occurs is, now if you're playing the base game, literally nothing would happen, which is why it gets a little boring for pilots once you actually jump once. But in this, the way the cylon fleet board works is essentially that's going to build up and try to track us down. And when it tracks us down, it's going to all port in at once, and it gets pretty brutal, which is why it's very important. Because usually the original strategy was just to rush to jumps as quickly as possible. But doing that without destroying any of the ships will just let them build up more and more until it just floods the entire screen, the entire space area, and then just blow up all your civvy ships and then blow up the Galactica. So it's something to be aware of. So since there's none on the field, we need to add one from the box to the cylon fleet board. And then you add it to whatever you roll here, which is 3. 3 is up here in the top right. You put it right there. And then you increase this pursuit track by 1. And then this symbol here is a civvy ship. What that means is the CAG has to put a civvy ship on the space board, and it has to be a spot where there isn't a civvy ship already, if possible. So she's going to put one, actually she'll put one right here, because there's a Viper right there to go ahead and escort it. Alright, and that's it for that. We do get a jump prep. Bad news is, it is the Mutineer's turn. He's going to draw a Mutineer card, a Mutiny card rather, and he's up to 3 now, so he's going to go to jail. Good news is he has a way of getting out. So he's going to go ahead and discard Peaceful Resistance. Here, we'll do it like this. There we go. Alright, and he's going to jail. When you go to the Brig, you can only get out by certain abilities or by activating the location, in which case you have to do a skill check to get yourself out. While you're in the Brig, you do not draw crises cards if it's your turn, and you can only contribute 1 card to a crisis instead of, as many as you can. Alright, so yeah, he's in jail, so not much we can do about that. But that's all been resolved. We got the jump prep, and it goes to Laura. All right, we'll do another round of this. So get more politics cards, and then a couple of leaderships. Okay. So let's get kind of good on those fronts. Repairs are still not happening. Oh, also, actually, he actually needed to draw treachery cards. Actually, did I even discard? Yes, I discarded repairs, and some other junk. Okay. If I make a mistake, I apologize. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of. Yeah, he should have drew treachery cards from that. So he has those in his hand now. Most of them were bad. All right. Anyway, with that said and done, Laura's probably gonna go ahead and just exo somebody. She'll go ahead and exo Lewis and see if we can get him out. And Lewis is gonna go ahead and he has 2 actions, or a move and an action. He's going to go ahead and choose a character in the Brig and move him to any location in the Galactica, then discard this card and choose a player to draw a mutiny card. Alright, so he's going to go ahead and play this. And get himself out. And he'll put himself back in weapons control. Then he has to pick a player to draw a mutiny card. And he'll pick himself. Get himself another mutiny card. Alright, and then kind of good on that front for now. And he's going to go ahead, he does have enough. In fact, he's going to go ahead and just do blackmail. This will target the president. He'll do blackmail. So the president's going to have to give 3 random skill cards to him. So we'll do that right now. Okay. More treachery, and some engineering. All right. Well, and then that gets discarded. So, good news is he's getting those mutiny cards out of his hand, which is what you need to do to stay out of jail. All right, with that said and done, let's go ahead and draw a crisis. Laura Rosalind draws 2 and picks 1. Current player chooses. This one's pretty good. If you pass it, you can increase the jump prep. And then this one is all bad stuff all the time. She definitely wants to go ahead and speed up the jumps here, so she'll go ahead and put this on the bottom. And we'll put this in. Alright. She is going to go ahead. Yeah, she's going to go ahead and declare we're going to do the skill check. Now, does anyone have anything they want to actually mess with on this? It's yellow, purple, and blue. Nope. I don't think anyone has reckless or anything they want to play at the beginning. Actually, let's see. Do we really want to use miracle tokens yet? I don't think so. So what Boomer will do is play scientific research at the start. So all engineering cards now count as... Oh, actually, sorry, that's positive strength. I keep getting that mixed up with other things. That's not going to do anything. Okay. With that said and done, let's add 2 cards from the Destiny deck. Alright. And it goes to Chief first. And Chief's going to put these 2 cards in. And this trade is contact. Now that's a treachery card, but there's some tricks you can do with it to kind of make them somewhat useful. Alright. Boomer will put 1 card in. Lewis will put in... He's kind of okay with putting some baits and stuff in here, so he's going to go ahead and do that. and all that, and see if we pull this off. Oh, and also goes to Laura. Laura's going to go ahead and just put some, put a couple of cards in. Okay, shuffle, shuffle, and let's see what we get. Alright, that's a skill card. Another skill card. Another skill card. +1. Another skill card. +6. +9. +6. 0. +7. And this. Alright, so bad news is I believe that's a fail. One, 6, 9, back down 6, and 7. Did no one put anything else in there? That's probably my bad. I probably miscounted. That's okay. We were within 4 of the difficulty though, so it's not a fail. It just, we don't get the pass. And let's see. Oh, you just don't trigger the fail effect. It's still a fail. Current player will get 2 engineering cards. Essentially, if it's a pass, it would have been 4 engineering cards, but it's classified as a fail. So each of those will give her an engineering card. There's 1 and 2. But yeah, they missed out on the jump prep, but that's not the end of the world. Some other things do activate, which we'll deal with in a second. Each human player draws 1 treachery card. Also, if the current player is human, they get a mutiny. So she gets her first mutiny card. Discard 5 cards to get the president back. Alright, that's impeachment. Everyone gets a treachery card. Okay, and then, okay, that's taken care of. Add 1 civilian ship behind the Galactica. And then add 2 raiders to the front of the Galactica. And since there were 2 of them, we add 4 in total. So yeah, obviously that's stuff that can sometimes happen. They're like, all right, I don't know what everyone's put in, so I'll put in, only a little bit and end up undershooting it. Anyway, raiders activate. Now the skill checks do activate first, so if we didn't have those things that added the raiders to the board, it would have added a raider to this board and increased the pursuit track. These raiders do move though, and they'll move down to this sector. And then we get a jump prep. So we still get the jump prep, we just don't get 2. And that's it for her. Goes to Chief. I was tempted to use Boomer's ability and just, automatically pass it. In fact, that probably would have been a better idea, but that's okay. So it goes to Chief's turn. He's going to get himself hopefully some repairs. Yay, repairs. Okay, and then 2 leadership. And 1 politics. Alright, with all that said and done, let's go ahead and, he's not going to move, he's just going to use a repair. And repair some more Mark 7s. And then he gets another action because his ability allows him to take another action after using repair. He's going to go ahead and use executive order. Question is on who? It's going to be on Boomer. Alright, XO on Boomer. So Boomer has 2 actions, or a move and an action. She will go ahead and move to here. She moves 2 spaces because she's in a Mark 7. And then she's going to yeah, she's going to go ahead and use her CAG action to activate the unmanned Viper. Shoot with it, killing one raider. She gets another action because CAG action, and then she will go ahead and just shoot normally and destroy another one. Okay, that resolves the XO. And then it goes to crisis phase. Consult the hybrid. Pass is player draws a mutiny card and 2 skill cards. They may be outside of the check. And then fail is -1 food and shuffle 2 treachery cards into the destiny deck. Not the worst thing in the world, to be honest. And we're good on food. So we'll go ahead and add the cards from the destiny deck. And then Boomer's not going to put anything in. Actually, G will go ahead and get this Stratus contract in here. Might as well. Alright, and then Lewis is not going to put anything in. Neither is Laura, and neither is Chief. Alright, oops, sorry, I kind of hit my mic there. Stratus contact, -2, Stratus contact. So we're going to add 4 more raiders. We're trying to keep the raiders under control, but not completely off the board, and it's getting a bit crowded. The Pegasus does actually have some good weapons that can do really good damage against base stars and do good damage against multiple raiders, but they usually have some sort of risk if you roll low. Like you can damage yourself or destroy a civilian ship or damage a Viper. Alright, well, so yeah, it's a fail, so -1 food. Bring us back down to base. And then we add 2 treachery cards to the Destiny deck, which means there's literally just 2 cards in there. And then Heavy Raiders will activate, so we need to roll a d8. 8. Heavy Raider's going to be added to this sector, and Pursuit Track goes up by 1. And then Jump Prep increases by 1. Okay. With that, it goes to Boomer's turn. Boomer gets to draw some cards. 2. One of those, one of them's, and one of these. Okay. So for her turn, she's going to go ahead and move up to here. Then for her action, she's going to go ahead and activate this Unmanned Viper with a CAG. And destroy one. Then for her action, she's going to go ahead and maximum firepower and shoot 4 times. Well, that was a 1, at least according to the mouse over. Alright, so 1 miss, 1 hit, 2 misses. Alright, 2 hits, so 2 raiders are gone. Not the best, but it'll have to do. Alright, and then that is it for her. So we'll go ahead and draw a crisis. Current player chooses, we can either do a skill check, or we can just take the -1 food. If you do the skill check, there's a chance you can lose 2 food. She'll just take the -1 food. Alright, and then Raiders will activate. We'll start with the one attacking the Unmanned Viper. Misses, and then 2 are going to be on Boomer. Miss. That's going to be a destroy. I'm going to go ahead and evasive maneuvers. This will be at -2 because of piloting, and that misses. Okay. That takes care of that, and then Jump Prep increases by 1. That's resolved. Boomer looks at the top card of the crisis. And this one's pretty reasonably safe, so he'll just put that back on top. Or she'll put that back on top. Alright, goes to Lewis. Lewis will draw his cards. He's got a lot of junk in his hand right now. 1, 2. Tactics. Tactics. And engineering. Okay, that is some interesting things he can do. Alright, so for his turn, you can try to back up Boomer here. But instead, what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and use his mutiny card. So, strong survive, draw a civilian ship to destroy, then increase the jump track by 1, and then remove this card from play. So, draw a civilian ship, destroy it. This one was empty, so we didn't lose any resources. So that's how it works when you destroy civvy ships. You reveal it and look at the symbol, and that symbol is what resources you lose. You can lose 1 resource, 2 resources, or nothing. So we found the empty ship. Jump increases by 1, which is going to force a jump. And this actually gets removed from play, so we'll put it over there. Alright, well, all this gets jumped. And then ships return back to their stations. Like so. And then the Admiral Cag Boomer, gets to look at the destination cards. Miss jump. And Cylon Ambush. Lose 1 fuel, then place 1 Battlestar and 3 Raiders in front of Galactica and 3 civilian ships behind. Well, we don't want the miss jump. Alright, well this is going to do a lot of things. Alright, so what's going to end up happening here is, well, let's go ahead, press, alright, so place 3 civilian ships behind Galactica, so let's do that first. Okay, next, we lose 1 fuel. I mean, we should do this in order, to be honest, but place 1 Battlestar and 3 Raiders. So, we'll place the 3 Raiders. Now, the problem here is we actually have no base, the base stars are all on the Cylon fleet board. So what you do then is, alright, Cylon fleet. Quorum hand. Loyalties, game board. When a game effect instructs a player to place silent ships on the board, follow these steps in order. Choose the appropriate type among the ships that are on either the game board and use them. If there are not enough ships to fulfill the instructions, take ships from the appropriate types starting with the lowest numbered area. So this is only This only happens if it's due to an effect. If it happens due to a activation, like from a crisis card, the rules are different. So in this case, it's literally just take the appropriate ships, starting with the lowest number. Lowest number is here, so it's going to go here. Okay. Well, actually, you take them from the lowest number area and then do what they say. So this goes in front. All right. And that is it. So we are at 4 distance now. So at this point in the game, a number of things will happen. For every character on the is going to draw a new loyalty card. Boomer is going to draw 2 because she is Boomer, and that's her negative trait. And then the last one's going to go to that guy. All right. Laura Rosalind is the Cylon. Everyone else is going to be human. So Laura Rosalind is the Cylon. Cylon cards will have an action on them, and if you reveal them while you're not in the brig, you can do an additional effect. So this one will reduce morale by 1. Some of them can do things like injuries, damage, Galactica, throw people in jail, etc. All right, with that said and done, let's. So that's the sleeper phase. Now during the sleeper phase, Boomer gets thrown into the Brig as part of her negative trait, which means Admiral goes back to Lewis here, and CAG, of all things, goes to it actually goes to Lewis. So Lewis is also CAG. Boomer was 5th on CAG. Lewis is 15th. Chief is 17th, and Laura's, of course, 26th, because she is not someone that does that type of stuff. All right. Now, we're still not done with the turn, because that was just a card effect. Lewis now has finished his turn, so we get to draw a crisis, which is this one. Current player chooses. At this point, there's pretty much 100% chance that someone's a cylon at this point. So, I mean, there's I guess a tiny percentage that there might not be one, but at this point, it's pretty safe to assume that someone has become a cylon if they aren't one already. Naturally, Boomer's one person that most people consider because she just drew 2 cards instead of just 1. So, what he's going to go ahead and do at this point for this unsettling stories is probably just take the -1 morale. I mean, probably a better option. Yeah, so -1 morale brings us down to 7. Raiders will activate, so these 3 raiders will go down to here, which means that Civi ship is in trouble. We do get a jump prep. This is Lewis's turn, so he does get a mutiny card because of it. And then this gets resolved. He needs now to discard cards, so he's just going to discard. He needs to discard down to 10. Alright, so there's 10, and you discard these. Some of these treachery cards, if you discard them, you draw mutiny cards, but this is not the case for those ones. And then this goes to Laura, who's now a cylon. They don't know she's a cylon, and right now she still follows the rules of being a human. And she can very easily get presidency back. Alright, well, with that said and done, let's go ahead and call that a video. I'm the Depressed Dior. This was Battlestar Galactica on Tabletop Simulator. And yeah, we're in phase 2 here. 4 distance. They need to go 4 more distance or more, and then jump 1 more time. But they're going to run into a lot of trouble. Boomer's in jail right now and doesn't have any way of actually helping deal with the raiders that are now on the board and all the Civi ships. It's gonna be fun. So see you guys next time.